Hello, Jessica Frost-Ballas here with the Interactive Cards by Jess series for Simon Says Stamp. Today I'm sharing a clean and simple spinning wheel card. This is a design that can be easily stepped up and embellished for a variety of holidays and occasions, but this beginning card gives you a great jumping off point. So let's get started. First I blend distressings onto a piece of white cardstock to create my spinning sky. I start with tumbled glass and then add salty ocean, blueprint sketch, chipped sapphire, and black soot. Once I'm done blending, I die cut the panel with a scalloped circle from My Favorite Things. I'm careful to try and keep the center of the circle dividing the lighter and darker shades of distressing to indicate the night and day sky. At the same time, I also die cut a scalloped circle from copy paper. I fold that circle in half and then into quarters to easily find the center of my circle. Next, I line that circle up over the distressing blended circle and using the folds as a guide, punch a hole through the center of the circles. I work on a foam mat so that my piercing tool easily pierces the cardstock. Next I die cut the Pinkfresh Studio CITYSCAPE die with white cardstock. Then I line up a small circle die from the Hero Arts Infinity Circles onto the right side to create a notch for my spinning wheel. I hold it in place with a piece of washi tape and run it through my die cutting machine. Once that panel is cut, I line it over an A2 panel, trace the half circle, line up the die again, and die cut it. This will be the back panel for my card. Next I stamp my scene onto the die cut panel. This die actually coordinates with two different Pinkfresh stamp sets, Home for the Holidays and the set I'm using today, A Day in the City. I stamp them with VersaFine and then heat emboss them with clear embossing powder. Then I stamp the sentiment onto the banner and again heat emboss it with clear embossing powder. Once my stamping was done, I colored my scene with Copic markers. This is a fairly clean and simple design, so I kept my coloring and shading simple and just added a touch of pink, purple, and teal to each building and a bit of gray shading to the banner. I'll list the Copic markers I used on the blog. Depending on your particular card design, you could easily dress up the scene with additional stamps from the set. Then I lined up my back panel behind the stamped panel just to make sure the notch is aligned correctly. Then I placed the scallop circle behind the stamped panel and held it up to my desk light to make sure it was centered behind the stamped panel. Then I carefully placed the back panel behind and then carefully lifted the top panel. This allowed me to mark the center of the circle on the back panel, and then using a score tool I punched a hole through the back panel. Next, I inserted a small brad through the circle in the spinning wheel and the back panel and folded down the ends. Then I tested the circle to make sure it moved easily. If it doesn't spin easily at this point, you can adjust the ends of the brad to give it a little more wiggle room. To assemble the card, I placed foam mounting tape around the wheel and then adhered the stamped panel over the back panel. Then I adhered that to a top folding card base. Off camera, I finished the card by adding a few sequins and some accents with Spectrum Noir Clear Sparkle and a white Jelly Roll pen. I left my sky plain to just show the difference between the day and the night sky, but you could add clouds, stars, the sun, or more to add more interest to the spinning wheel. If you use a double layer of foam mounting tape, you could also add more dimension to your wheel with sequins or gems while still allowing it to spin freely. Personally, I think I know who I'll be sending this card to, and I might add a little more stamping to the wheel to personalize the card after our get-together. And that's it. I hope this inspires you to try creating a spinning wheel card of your own. I'll be off next month while we celebrate Stamptember, but I'll see you again in October. Thanks for joining me, have a wonderful day, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye!